Admiral Krasnur stood at the viewing window of his command ship, watching the stars. His long, gray fingers tapped against the glass. For 200 years, the Vraxian Empire had grown without stopping. Their ships had visited 1,000 worlds. Their mind control powers had bent 50 different alien races to their will. No one could fight back once the Vraxian mind wave touched them. "Admiral," said his second-in-command, "we found a new world. The beings there call themselves humans." Krasnur turned, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence. "Another world to add to our glory. Prepare the mind wave generators." Far away, on the edge of explored space, the Earth ship Intrepid moved slowly through the darkness. Captain Lisa Brooks sat in her command chair, watching her crew work. The ship had been in deep space for 6 months, looking for new alien life. "Captain, I'm picking up an energy reading," said Jack Murphy, the science officer. His fingers moved quickly across his screen. "It's like nothing I've seen before." Lisa stood up and walked to his station. "Dangerous?" "Don't think so. But it's definitely artificial. Someone made it." Lisa nodded and turned to her communications specialist. "Olivia, send out our first contact message on all frequencies." "Yes, Captain," said Olivia Grant, a young woman with short red hair. She pressed several buttons on her console. Message sent. Security Chief Sam Nelson stood by the door, his hand near his weapon. "I don't like this, Captain. We should be careful." "Always are, Sam," Lisa said with a small smile. "But we're explorers first." The bridge went quiet as they waited. Then Olivia's console lit up. "Captain, we're getting a response." A large ship appeared on their screens. It was 3 times the size of the Intrepid, with strange green lights along its hull. Lisa took a deep breath. "Open a channel," she ordered. The main screen flickered, and then showed a strange alien face. It had gray skin, 6 blinking eyes, and no visible nose. When it spoke, its voice was deep and echoing. "I am Admiral Krasnur of the Vraxian Empire. Your species is unknown to us. You will now submit to our control." Lisa stood straight, her face calm. "I am Captain Lisa Brooks of Earth. We come in peace, seeking friendship with other life in the galaxy." The alien made a sound like laughter. "There is no friendship in our empire, only masters and servants. You will now feel our power." The screen went dark. Suddenly, the Intrepid shook as green light surrounded it. "They're scanning us with some kind of energy beam," Jack called out. Sam pulled his weapon. "I knew it. They're attacking." "No," said Jack, looking at his readings. "It's not a weapon. It's more like a signal aimed at our brains." Lisa felt nothing unusual. "Is everyone all right?" Her crew nodded, looking confused but unhurt. On the Vraxian ship, Admiral Krasnur was furious. The mind wave had been sent at full power, but the human ship showed no signs of submission. No other species had ever resisted before. "Impossible," he shouted. "Increase power to maximum." His crew obeyed, pushing the mind wave generators beyond safe limits. The green light around the human ship grew brighter. On the Intrepid, Jack looked up from his console. "Captain, they're increasing the power of whatever they're doing, but I still don't feel anything wrong." "Do you?" Lisa shook her head. "Nothing." The screen came back on. Admiral Krasnur's 6 eyes were wide with shock. "What are you?" he demanded. Lisa stood tall. "We are humans, from Earth, and we don't know what you're trying to do, but it clearly isn't working." For the first time in his long life, Admiral Krasnur felt fear. These humans were immune to the power that had built his empire. If they could not be controlled, they were dangerous. Very dangerous. "Return to base," he ordered his crew. "We must inform the Emperor immediately." The Vraxian ship turned and disappeared into the darkness of space. On the Intrepid, the crew watched them go. "What just happened?" asked Olivia. Lisa looked at the empty space where the alien ship had been. "I don't know. But I think we just met someone who expected us to be easily controlled. She turned to her crew, and they discovered we're not so easy after all. Sam smiled. Well, they learned something important today. What's that? Asked Jack. They learned that humans are different, Sam replied, and I have a feeling that's going to change everything. Emperor Zexvoller slammed his fist on the throne. The entire room shook. His advisors stepped back in fear. What do you mean immune? He growled. No species is immune to our mind control. Admiral Krasnur kept his 6 eyes lowered. The humans showed no response. Emperor, we try our strongest mind waves. Nothing worked. The Emperor paced across the Grand Hall. For 1,000 years, the Vraxian Empire had grown without challenge. Their mind control powers were the perfect weapon. No battles needed. No destroyed cities. Just instant obedience. Find out why, the Emperor ordered. Study their brains. Test their blood. I want answers. The Science Council, led by Chief Scientist Vexlor, began their work immediately. They analyzed the scans taken from the human ship. Their brains are different, Vexlor reported. They have patterns we've never seen before. Very chaotic. Very contradictory. Back on Earth, the Intrepid had returned home. The crew sat in a white room at Space Command Headquarters. Dr. Wendy Clark, a woman with curly brown hair and glasses, studied their brain scans. You all seem normal, she said. No sign of alien influence. Captain Lisa Brooks leaned forward in her chair. They definitely tried something. That green light was aimed at our minds. Dr. Clark nodded, and yet it failed completely. She pointed to a screen showing colorful images of their brains. Look here, human brains are unique. We think many different thoughts at once. We feel opposite emotions at the same time. We believe contradicting ideas. This might be our protection. Jack Murphy, the science officer, had been quiet. Now he spoke up. I've been having strange dreams since the encounter. Everyone turned to look at him. What kind of dreams? Dr. Clark asked. Jack closed his eyes. I see through many eyes at once. I hear many thoughts. It's like I'm connected to a huge mind network. Dr. Clark sat down next to him. You might be sensing their collective consciousness. Maybe the connection works both ways. In space, the Vraxian fleet gathered. 20 massive ships formed a circle around their homeworld. Admiral Krasnur prepared for war. If the humans could not be controlled, they must be destroyed. But Emperor Zexvoller was not ready for open conflict. We will learn more first, he said. Send a diplomatic mission. Appear peaceful. Study them up close. On Earth, the defense forces prepared for trouble. General Scott Miller addressed the world leaders on a video call. These Vraxians have conquered 50 other alien species, he explained. They have more ships, better weapons, and centuries of experience. If they attack, we'll fight hard, but it won't be easy. Captain Lisa Brooks and her crew were finally allowed to leave quarantine. Walking outside in the sunshine, Lisa looked up at the blue sky. Do you think they'll come back? Asked Olivia Grant, standing beside her. Yes, said Lisa. We're too interesting for them to ignore. We're the first puzzle they couldn't solve. In his apartment that night, Jack Murphy woke up sweating. The dreams were getting stronger. He could feel the Vraxians now, even when awake. Their thoughts pushed at the edges of his mind. He picked up his phone and called Dr. Clark. The Vraxians are coming back, he said when she answered. I can feel them preparing. But there's something else. What is it? She asked. Other minds. Trapped minds. The species they've enslaved. Jack's voice shook. I think they're reaching out to me. I think they want our help. Dr. Clark was silent for a moment. Come to the lab right now, she finally said. If what you're saying is true, humans aren't just immune to mind control. We might be the cure, Jack finished her thought. In deep space, the Vraxian diplomatic ship moved toward Earth. Admiral Kraz Noor watched the blue planet grow larger on his screen. The humans were dangerous, yes, but they were also the key to ultimate power. If the Vraxians could understand human immunity, they could fix that weakness in their mind control. And then, nothing in the galaxy would stop them. What the Admiral didn't know was that Jack Murphy's dreams were showing the first crack in the Vraxian Empire. For the first time in 1,000 years, the enslaved species had hope. Humanity was coming. 6 months had passed since first contact. Earth and the Vraxian Empire had agreed to meet at a space station built in neutral territory. It was a large, ring-shaped structure where both sides could talk without fear. Ambassador Alan Pierce led the human team. He was a tall man with gray hair and a calm voice. He had spent 30 years making peace between different countries on Earth. Now he had to make peace between different worlds. Remember, he told his team as they prepared to meet the Vraxians, they see us as a threat just because we can't be controlled. Stay polite but firm. The meeting room had a long table with humans on one side and Vraxians on the other. Admiral Kraz Noor sat across from Ambassador Pierce. The Admiral's 6 eyes blinked slowly as he studied the humans. The Vraxian Empire welcomes this chance for peace, the Admiral said, but his voice was cold. What the humans didn't know was that while they talked about trade and borders, the Vraxians were testing new, stronger versions of their mind control. During every meeting, hidden devices sent invisible waves toward the human delegation. Nothing worked. After a month of talks, Admiral Kraz Noor was angry and afraid. He sent a private message to Emperor Zex Voller. The humans cannot be controlled. They are discussing rights for all species. Some of our servants are listening to them. We must act soon. Back on Earth, Dr. Wendy Clark worked day and night in her lab. Jack Murphy sat in a special chair with sensors attached to his head. The connection is getting stronger, Jack said. I can feel billions of minds held in the Vraxian network. They know we exist now. They're hoping we can help them. Dr. Clark nodded. On her computer screen, Jack's brain patterns glowed and shifted. Your brain is starting to broadcast, not just receive. You're sending human thought patterns back through their network. General Scott Miller entered the lab. We have a problem, he said. He showed them pictures from space telescopes. Hundreds of Vraxian ships were gathering. They're preparing for war, the general said. Our talks aren't working. At the space station, Ambassador Pierce noticed something strange. A small alien with blue skin was cleaning the floor after a meeting. The alien's name was Zdik, from a species called the Tellurians. As Pierce walked past, Zik's hand touched his leg. Pierce felt something being pressed into his pocket. Later, alone in his room, he found a small metal disc. When he touched it, a message appeared in the air. Humans, help us. When near you, the control weakens. We can think our own thoughts again. 50 species wait for freedom. The next day, Pierce secretly told Olivia Grant about the message. As the communications specialist, she might find a way to talk to the Tellurians without the Vraxians knowing. Olivia began sending short messages hidden in normal space static. Soon, she was getting answers. The resistance was real. Many enslaved aliens were starting to wake up when near humans or human broadcasts. Admiral Kraz Noor noticed the change in some servants. They were slower to obey. They looked at humans with hope instead of fear. His suspicions grew. In her lab, Dr. Clark made a breakthrough. I think I can copy the pattern that makes human brains immune, she told General Miller. We could make a device that protects other species from control. They tested it on 3 Tellurians who had secretly come to Earth. The results were amazing. When near the device, the aliens could think freely for the first time in generations. We need more time to perfect this, Dr. Clark said. But time was running out. On the space station, Admiral Kraz Noor suddenly ended all talks. The Vraxian ships left the neutral zone without warning. Ambassador Pierce rushed back to Earth with terrible news. They're coming, he told world leaders. They've decided to destroy what they can't control. As Earth prepared for war, Jack Murphy sat alone in his room. His mind reached out across space, touching billions of enslaved minds. Get ready, he sent through the connection the Vraxians had created. Humans are coming. Freedom is coming. Across the galaxy, for the first time in 1,000 years, hope spread through the controlled species. The fight for freedom was about to begin. Hidden in the shadows of an old storage room on the space station, Olivia Grant met with Zik the Tellurian. 3 other aliens stood nearby, keeping watch. Their blue skin seemed to glow in the dim light. "We don't have much time," Olivia whispered. "The Vraxians are watching everything now." Zik nodded. "More of us wake up every day. Being near humans breaks the mind control a little, but we need more help." Olivia handed over a small metal box. Inside was one of Dr. Clark's prototype neural shields. "This might free more of your people. It sends out human brain patterns." Zik took the box with shaking hands. This could change everything. For 1,000 years, we've been slaves in our own bodies. On Earth, preparations for war moved quickly. Spaceships were built, weapons tested. But everyone knew it might not be enough. The Vraxian Empire had 50 planets and thousands of ships. In her lab, Dr. Clark worked without stopping. Jack Murphy sat beside her, his mind connected to the growing resistance. "There are billions ready to fight back," Jack said, his eyes closed as he sensed the network of minds. "They just need a way to break free." Dr. Clark looked at her newest device. It was larger than the first prototype, designed to affect a wider area. "This should help more aliens resist the control, but we need to get it to them somehow." General Miller entered the lab with Captain Lisa Brooks. "We have a plan," the general said. "The Intrepid will take the device behind enemy lines. A small, fast ship has a better chance of getting through than our big battleships." Lisa nodded. "My crew is ready. This is what we trained for." Jack Murphy opened his eyes. "I need to go too. I can feel where the resistance is strongest. I can guide us." 3 days later, the Intrepid left Earth under cover of darkness. Its mission was dangerous but vital. Deliver the neural shield to the resistance and help coordinate their efforts for the coming battle. As they traveled, they received reports that the Vraxian fleet was getting closer to Earth. Time was running out. Deep in Vraxian territory, on a mining planet called Tellus, the resistance was growing. Zik had used the small neural shield to free 20 more Tellurians. They gathered in underground caves, away from Vraxian sensors. "Humans are coming to help us," Zik told them. "And they bring a device that can free all our people." A tall Tellurian named Cora spoke up. "But what happens when the Vraxians discover us? They'll destroy this planet rather than lose control." "That's why we need to act on all planets at once," Zik replied. "The Vraxians can't destroy everything they've built. We just need to coordinate with other species." In the Vraxian palace, Emperor Zexvolder received disturbing news. Reports from 20 different worlds showed growing problems with mind control. Servants were moving slowly. Some were disappearing. Others were found standing still, as if fighting the commands in their heads. "It's the humans," Admiral Krasnur said. "Their very presence weakens our control. Even their broadcasts seem to disrupt our power." The Emperor's many eyes narrowed. "Then we must destroy them quickly, before it gets worse. Launch the attack now." The Vraxian Armada, 500 ships strong, changed course. Instead of a slow, careful approach, they now raced toward Earth at full speed. On the Intrepid, Jack Murphy suddenly gasped and fell from his chair. Lisa Brooks ran to his side. "What's wrong?" she asked. Jack looked up, his face pale. "They've launched their attack. Earth has 3 days, maybe less." Olivia Grant, who had returned from the space station just in time for the mission, helped Jack back to his feet. "Can we reach the resistance in time?" Jack nodded slowly. "We have to, because I felt something else too. The Vraxians are afraid now. Really afraid. They're ready to destroy planets rather than lose control. Lisa looked at her crew. Then we'd better move fast. The fate of Earth, and 50 other worlds, depends on what we do next. Unknown to any of them, resistance cells were forming on every planet in the Vraxian Empire. The war for freedom was about to explode across the galaxy. Earth's defense fleet gathered near the moon. 100 ships formed a protective line, ready to defend their home planet. Fleet Admiral Chris Daniels stood on the bridge of his command ship, looking at the radar screens. "They're coming," he said to his officers. 500 Vraxian ships against our 100. Not great odds. On Earth, people watched the sky with fear. Many had left the cities, seeking safety in mountains and forests. But everyone knew there would be no real safety if the Vraxians won. The Intrepid, meanwhile, had reached the mining planet Tellus. Captain Lisa Brooks, Jack Murphy, and Olivia Grant met with the resistance leaders in a hidden cave. Hundreds of freed Tellurians gathered to see the humans who couldn't be controlled. "This is the larger neural shield," Jack explained, showing them Dr. Clark's device. "It can free thousands at once if we can install it somewhere central." Zick pointed to a map of the main city. "The broadcast tower. It sends commands to all workers. If we put your device there, it will reach everyone on the planet." "But it's heavily guarded," said Cora, the tall Tellurian. "And we have only 50 freed fighters." Jack closed his eyes, connecting to the mine network. "There are others nearly free. I can feel them. They're fighting the control already. They just need a push." Lisa looked at the small group of rebels. "Then let's give them that push." That night, the humans and Tellurians moved through the dark streets of the mining city. Sam Nelson, the security chief, led the way with his weapon ready. Guards patrolled everywhere, but many seemed confused, shaking their heads as if trying to clear their thoughts. "The human presence is already affecting them," Zick whispered. When they reached the broadcast tower, alarms suddenly blared. Vraxian guards surrounded them, weapons raised. "Now, Jack," Lisa shouted. Jack activated a small version of the neural shield. A wave of energy pulsed outward. The Vraxian guards froze. Then, one by one, they lowered their weapons. Their 6 eyes blinked rapidly as their minds cleared for the first time. "We're free," one guard said in shock. "The control is gone." With the guards now helping them, they reached the top of the tower. Jack connected the main neural shield to the broadcast system. He pressed the activation button. Across the entire planet, a wave of human brain patterns spread through the air. In mines, factories, and homes, Tellurians stopped working. They stood straight, their eyes clearing as 1,000-year-old mental chains broke. Back in space, the battle for Earth had begun. Vraxian ships fired powerful weapons at Earth's defenders. Several human ships exploded in bright flashes. "Hold the line," Admiral Daniels ordered. "We just need to buy time." The Vraxian ships pushed forward, their superior numbers overwhelming Earth's defenses. Admiral Kraz Noor watched from his command ship with satisfaction. "The humans fight well," he told his officers, "but they cannot win. Soon their world will burn for daring to resist us." Then something unexpected happened. On 3 Vraxian ships, alarms sounded. The enslaved crew members from various species were fighting their controllers. The ships veered off course, crashing into each other. "What is happening?" Kraz Noor demanded. His officers looked confused. "The controlled species. They're resisting somehow. We're losing connection to them." On Earth, Dr. Clark monitored the battle from her lab. "It's working," she said to General Miller. "Jack's mission succeeded. The resistance is spreading through their fleet." The neural shield on Tellus was broadcasting human brain patterns that reached far beyond the planet. Other nearby worlds were receiving the signal. More and more enslaved beings were waking up. Admiral Kraz Noor watched in horror as chaos spread through his fleet. Ship after ship stopped responding or turned against others. The perfect order of the Vraxian Empire was crumbling before his eyes. "This cannot be happening," he whispered. "No one resists the Vraxian mind control." But as he watched his fleet tear itself apart, he knew the truth. The age of Vraxian control was ending, and humanity had lit the spark that would burn the Empire down. The battle around Earth turned in a way no one had expected. Vraxian ships fired on each other as freed crew members fought for control. Admiral Daniels watched in amazement as the massive enemy fleet fell into chaos. "What's happening out there?" he asked his second-in-command. "Sir, we're getting messages from inside the Vraxian ships," the officer replied. "Different species are breaking free and taking over. They're asking how they can help us." On the Vraxian command ship, Admiral Kraz Noor tried desperately to regain control. His officers worked frantically at their stations as alarms blared around them. "Increase mind control power to maximum," Kraz Noor shouted. "Kill any slaves who resist." But it was too late. The neural shields effect had spread too far. On ship after ship, the enslaved beings who had served the Vraxians for centuries were waking up. Their eyes cleared. Their minds belonged to themselves again. On a large Vraxian battleship, a group of Tellurians led by a commander named Drez took control of the bridge. They locked the Vraxian officers in a storage room and turned the ship's weapons on other Vraxian vessels. "This is Commander Drez of the Free Tellurian Forces," he broadcast to Earth's fleet. "We stand with humanity against our former masters." Similar messages came from other captured ships. Species that had been enemies under Vraxian control now worked together against their common oppressor. Back on Tellus, Captain Lisa Brooks and her crew watched the reports coming in with growing excitement. "It's working across the whole Empire," Jack said, his eyes wide as he sensed the mind network changing. "Billions of minds breaking free at once. It's like a galaxy waking up from a bad dream." Olivia's communication device beeped with an incoming message. "Captain, it's from Earth. Ambassador Pierce wants to send a broadcast to all the freed species." Minutes later, Ambassador Pierce's calm voice reached ships and planets throughout Vraxian space. "To all beings now breaking free from Vraxian control, humanity extends friendship and alliance. This is not just Earth's fight. It is a fight for freedom across the galaxy. Stand with us, and together we will ensure no species is ever controlled again." The response was overwhelming. From 50 different worlds came messages of support. Species that humans had never even heard of pledged to fight alongside them. Admiral Kraz Noor, seeing his empire crumbling around him, made one final desperate decision. Set course for Earth, he ordered his loyal Vraxian crew. "We will destroy the source of this rebellion." His massive command ship broke away from the battle, racing toward Earth with weapons charged. Nothing could stop a direct hit from a ship that size. But as the command ship approached Earth, 3 freed battleships moved to intercept it. Led by Commander Drez's Tellurians, they surrounded the Vraxian vessel. "You will not harm the humans," Drez broadcast to Kraz Noor. "They gave us back our minds, our freedom, our lives." Kraz Noor laughed bitterly. "You were nothing before we controlled you. You will be nothing again." "We would rather be free nothings than enslaved somethings," Drez replied. The 3 freed ships opened fire on the command vessel. Their combined attack damaged its engines and weapons. As system after system failed, Vraxian crew members ran to escape pods. Admiral Kraz Noor sat alone on his bridge, watching his empire die. When freed Tellurian soldiers burst onto the bridge, he didn't resist. The great admiral who had conquered a dozen worlds simply lowered his head in defeat. On Earth, cheers erupted as news spread of the victory. Dr. Clark hugged General Miller, tears in her eyes. "It worked. It really worked." The general smiled. Humanity's greatest strength was what the Vraxians thought was our weakness, our messy, complicated minds that couldn't be controlled. On Tellus, Captain Lisa Brooks looked at the celebration around her. Tellurians danced and sang in the streets, their first taste of freedom in 1,000 years. "What happens now?" asked Sam Nelson. Lisa watched the sun rise over the free city. "Now the real work begins. 50 species need to learn how to live together without Vraxian control, and humanity will help them build something better. The battle around Earth turned in a way no one had expected. Vraxian ships fired on each other as freed crew members fought for control. Admiral Daniels watched in amazement as the massive enemy fleet fell into chaos. "What's happening out there?" he asked his second-in-command. "Sir, we're getting messages from inside the Vraxian ships," the officer replied. "Different species are breaking free and taking over. They're asking how they can help us." On the Vraxian command ship, Admiral Kraz Noor tried desperately to regain control. His officers worked frantically at their stations as alarms blared around them. "Increase mind control power to maximum," Kraz Noor shouted. "Kill any slaves who resist." But it was too late. The neural shields effect had spread too far. On ship after ship, the enslaved beings who had served the Vraxians for centuries were waking up. Their eyes cleared. Their minds belonged to themselves again. On a large Vraxian battleship, a group of Tellurians led by a commander named Drez took control of the bridge. They locked the Vraxian officers in a storage room and turned the ship's weapons on other Vraxian vessels. "This is Commander Drez of the Free Tellurian Forces," he broadcast to Earth's fleet. "We stand with humanity against our former masters." Similar messages came from other captured ships. Species that had been enemies under Vraxian control now worked together against their common oppressor. Back on Tellus, Captain Lisa Brooks and her crew watched the reports coming in with growing excitement. "It's working across the whole empire," Jack said, his eyes wide as he sensed the mind network changing. "Billions of minds breaking free at once. It's like a galaxy waking up from a bad dream." Olivia's communication device beeped with an incoming message. "Captain, it's from Earth. Ambassador Pierce wants to send a broadcast to all the freed species." Minutes later, Ambassador Pierce's calm voice reached ships and planets throughout Vraxian space. "To all beings now breaking free from Vraxian control, humanity extends friendship and alliance. This is not just Earth's fight. It is a fight for freedom across the galaxy. Stand with us, and together we will ensure no species is ever controlled again." The response was overwhelming. From 50 different worlds came messages of support. Species that humans had never even heard of pledged to fight alongside them. Admiral Kraz Noor, seeing his empire crumbling around him, made one final desperate decision. "Set course for Earth," he ordered his loyal Vraxian crew. "We will destroy the source of this rebellion." His massive command ship broke away from the battle, racing toward Earth with weapons charged. Nothing could stop a direct hit from a ship that size. But as the command ship approached Earth, 3 freed battleships moved to intercept it. Led by Commander Drez's Tellurians, they surrounded the Vraxian vessel. "You will not harm the humans," Drez broadcast to Kraz Noor. "They gave us back our minds, our freedom, our lives." Kraz Noor laughed bitterly. "You were nothing before we controlled you. You will be nothing again." "We would rather be free nothings than enslaved somethings," Drez replied. The 3 freed ships opened fire on the command vessel. Their combined attack damaged its engines and weapons. As system after system failed, Vraxian crew members ran to escape pods. Admiral Kraz Noor sat alone on his bridge, watching his empire die. When freed Tellurian soldiers burst onto the bridge, he didn't resist. The great admiral who had conquered a dozen worlds simply lowered his head in defeat. On Earth, cheers erupted as news spread of the victory. Dr. Clark hugged General Miller, tears in her eyes. "It worked. It really worked." The general smiled. Humanity's greatest strength was what the Vraxians thought was our weakness, our messy, complicated minds that couldn't be controlled. On Tellus, Captain Lisa Brooks looked at the celebration around her. Tellurians danced and sang in the streets, their first taste of freedom in 1,000 years. "What happens now?" asked Sam Nelson. Lisa watched the sun rise over the free city. "Now the real work begins. 50 species need to learn how to live together without Vraxian control, and humanity will help them build something better."